Good day, I'm Ron Moon, editor of 4x4 Australia magazine. For the last 20 years or so, I've travelled extensively through this great country of ours, learning the skills required to successfully four-wheel drive and the solutions to the many problems you're likely to encounter along the way. A four-wheel drive is just not another car or piece of machinery. It can become your very own escape machine and a means to an adventure. Once you own a four-wheel drive vehicle, get to know its different traits and characteristics. Some vehicles are part-time four-wheel drive with a transfer box that needs to be manually shifted between high-ratio two-wheel drive, high-ratio four-wheel drive and low-ratio. Some have a push button for high-ratio four-wheel drive. Others are constant four-wheel drive, while the all-wheel drive Pajero can be either two-wheel drive or constant four-wheel drive. Does your vehicle have manual freewheeling hubs, auto freewheeling hubs, or some form of automatic disconnecting system on the front axle, such as in the V6 4Runner or Pajero? Don't confuse a centre diff lock found in constant four-wheel drive vehicles with a diff lock that is an optional extra on all four-wheel drives. Once you're into slippery situations, such as sand, loose gravel, snow or mud, you can select four-wheel drive or lock the centre diff of a constant four-wheel drive vehicle. Once the going slows, or you need more power and torque, then low-ratio four-wheel drive can be selected. Generally, high-ratio four-wheel drive can be selected on the move up to speeds of, say, 100 kilometres per hour. Low-ratio requires the vehicle to be stopped, or nearly so. To understand your vehicle fully, read the instruction manual. Before you set off on your first adventure into the wilds, there are a few things you should do and carry. Planning and preparation are important for any trip, and we discuss these fully later in this video. The only difference between a day jaunt and a month-long outback holiday is the amount of planning and preparation you do and the amount of spares and tools you carry. No matter where you're going or for how long, carry a first aid kit, a fire extinguisher, basic recovery gear, along with a small toolkit and a can of WD-40 or similar. A basic knowledge of first aid is essential for any trip. We'd recommend a St John's Ambulance first aid course, but if not that, at the very least, a first aid kit and a manual should be carried. The life you save could be yours or your child's.
Not bad, it's pretty dusty.
Fit a CB radio. They're not only great for inter-vehicle communication, but could get you out of trouble in an emergency. Once in the bush, do the right thing. Stick to the constructed vehicle tracks. Observe all the rules and regulations of using public land. Don't drive on easily damaged areas such as vegetated dunes, alpine snow plains or swamps. Take all your rubbish out with you. Observe fire restrictions. Respect private land. Ask permission. And leave all gates as you find them. When I think of Outback Australia, 100 images of past trips flash through my head. Just as quickly, dreams of future Outback jaunts tantalise my mind, drawing me back to those wide open spaces, time and time again. The Outback is part and parcel of the Australian psyche, yet many people never get to see or experience it. Those of us with a four-wheel drive have more opportunity and a much wider choices of places to go, see and to really taste the pure essence of the Outback. Outback Australia has changed greatly in the last decade. A ring of bitumen skirts the Australian coast, while a ribbon of tar cuts through the heart of the continent. While distances are still vast, much of the drama has been eliminated. Even so, when you venture off the blacktop, you are just as remote and isolated as people were 100 years ago. It can be a dangerous place. Here you need to be prepared to survive, and that starts back at home, well before you leave. Service and prepare your vehicle. Make sure everything is in good order. Carry a wide range of spares, suitable for servicing and minor repairs. Ensure you have an adequate toolkit to cover any eventuality. Even if you can't fix your vehicle's problem, somebody, with the help of your manual, might be able to. Don't forget, you can't carry everything you may need, so establish what equipment and supplies are really important to survive and to keep the vehicle moving. Next in importance are those items necessary for camping, followed by all those things that are, well, nice to have. If you don't watch it, these can fill the whole vehicle, overloading it and possibly breaking a spring. Keep heavy items off the roof rack as much as possible. Not only will it help you not to tip over, but it will save the rack and even the vehicle's pillars from breaking. Packing a vehicle for a long trip is a definite art, and you'll get better as the trip progresses. Okay, so we'll come up we'll stick to the telegraph line, coming up the main drag, and we'll go into Fruitbat Falls. Plan your route and find out as much as you can before you leave. Consult friends, four-wheel drive clubs, tourist information centres, and buy some decent maps and guidebooks to the area you are planning to spend your time in. Not only will good planning ensure you see the best of what's available, it will also ensure you know where fuel, water and other supplies are located. There may be permits required from national parks or from Aboriginal communities. In some cases, it's a case of no permit, no go.
We've got permission to go through all this pastoral...
Before you leave, let somebody know of your travel plans, where you intend to go and the estimated time of arrival. Don't forget to keep them informed of your progress so they don't hit the panic button unnecessarily.
What town's it close to?
This is
north of Wool Canyon.
Yeah.
North of Wool Canyon.
There's a whole lake system out there.
Once you're on the road, talk to other travellers, store owners, police and the like for the latest in local knowledge. Be flexible enough to adjust timetables and places to see in light of what you learn and the conditions prevailing at the time. In the bush, check your vehicle after each day's run or before you start off again in the morning. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure out here, and a loose nut or bolt is much easier to fix than it is to replace or repair something that has fallen off or broken. Always check your radiator water and your oil each morning. In dusty conditions, keep a regular check on your air cleaner and replace or wash the element when required. On longer, harder trips, you may need to service your vehicle. That will require an oil change, a grease and filter changes. Make sure you're prepared. Water is crucial for yourself and your vehicle. I always recommend carrying 10 to 20 litres whenever you go bush. In the outback, start with a minimum of 20 litres, and as soon as you go off the blacktop, make it 40 litres. If you're travelling the Simpson or other equally remote dry places, you'll need more. 5 litres of water per day per person should be enough if used sparingly, but it quickly adds up in volume and weight. Once again, you can custom build water tanks into your vehicle or opt for plastic containers. At least you can carry water safely inside the vehicle. Whatever you choose, don't put all your water in one container. That could well be the recipe for a disaster. Fuel for your vehicle is vitally important in the outback. The distances between fuel points are great, with 500 to 700 kilometres not being uncommon. If you're likely to do more than just one trip, long-range fuel tanks should be invested in. We've recommended some form of radio communication for all four-wheelers heading bush, but in the outback it's vital. An AM SSB CB radio will get you out of trouble on most occasions, but a HF radio set up for the Royal Flying Doctor Service and OTC is much more reliable, more flexible and an all-round better option. It's also a darn sight more expensive, but you can hire them from the RFDS or from good radio outlets Australia-wide. Whatever radio you choose to use, you'll need a licence from the Commonwealth Department of Communication.
Victor Juliet Bravo is clear.
Good driving lights are nice to have on any trip away from the bright lights of the city. In the outback, they're near essential. Not only do they make the trip safer, making it easier to pick up wayward roos and black bulls, but they also make driving less tiring. Travelling the remote areas of the outback is a lot safer and a whole lot more fun if you're travelling in the company of others. Not only can you split the workload of setting up camp, you can help each other out of bogs, repair tyres and vehicles, and later sit around the fire reminiscing the day's events and the problems of the world. Driving in the mountains can be the most demanding, exciting and dangerous place a four-wheeler can venture. Narrow, slippery tracks, often deeply rutted or washed out, combined with steep hills, make any outing an adventure.
Yeah, well, this shouldn't be a problem, not too slippery.
Fairly dry.
Yep.
Check the ground ahead if it looks a bit dicey.
Yep, okay.
Choose a low gear. Second or third low for steep uphills, first low for steep downhills. Use the engine to slow the vehicle. Use the brake sparingly and with caution. Don't change gear and never touch the clutch. If the vehicle begins to slide sideways, very slight acceleration will normally straighten your descent. Tyre pressures play an importance here too. 140 to 180 kPa or 20 to 26 psi are good tyre pressures for bush tracks. You'll be surprised at the difference it makes. If you stall going up a hill, you'll need to do what is known as a stall start. Here's what to do. First, don't panic. Stay calm. Don't touch the clutch. Apply both brakes, handbrake and the foot brake. Ease the clutch in. Select low range, reverse gear. Ease the clutch out. Now keep your feet well away from the clutch. Check where your front wheels are pointing and that the track is clear behind you. Take the handbrake off. Lift your foot off the brake slowly, but keep it ready in case the vehicle moves. Keeping your feet away from the clutch and accelerator, start the engine. Let the vehicle reverse back down the hill, still not touching the accelerator or clutch. You may need to touch the brake slightly, but do so with care. Once you're back at the bottom, you can try again with a little more pace, try another route, or if all else fails, winch up. For the four-wheel driver, challenges, excitement and beauty await in Australia's alpine regions. Like skiing as an acquired skill, driving in the snow demands special techniques and prior preparation. Before leaving home, you need to not only prepare yourself, but get your vehicle ready as well. Ensure your cooling system has the appropriate antifreeze compound added. Make sure your battery and electrical system are in top condition. The efficiency of these drop markedly as the temperature falls. Add a small amount of detergent or some methylated spirits to your windscreen washer water. This will make it less likely to freeze. Check your heater controls, radiator, wiper blades, engine hoses, lights and tyres for proper operation and condition. Don't forget your basic recovery gear, a snatch strap, shackles, a shovel and ground sheet and gloves for when you have to fit chains. Keep a safe distance between vehicles and select four-wheel drive once the going gets slippery. Diesel owners should ensure their vehicle is running on Alpine diesel fuel. It's a good idea to keep your tank as full as possible during your time in the snow to minimise any condensation in the tank. While a four-wheel drive vehicle will go a lot further than a passenger car in the snow, sooner or later you will have to fit chains. Most mountain resorts insist you fit them where they consider it necessary, so be prepared. Keep your vehicle in four-wheel drive and fit chains to the front wheels. This will ensure better control. Fitting is simple. Make sure the chains are not tangled. Drape them over the tyre. Tuck the chain end in under the wheel. Reverse slowly over the chain. Pull the chain tight and secure the inside. Then the outer link. Tighten. Securely lock the lever. Then fasten the end link. Drive a few metres, stop and retension the chains. Chains will improve control and traction enormously, but you must take care as ill-fitted chains will cause vehicle damage. Remember, chains will alter the handling characteristics of your vehicle, so take it very easy until you know what to expect. Keep your speed down to below 50 kilometres an hour. This will reduce wear. Chains can also cause severe environmental damage, so stay on roads and tracks that are open to traffic. There are a wide variety of chains available, but the best type is a so-called diamond pattern, which gives better traction, control and braking. Practice fitting your chains before you leave home. Once you're allowed to, or it is safe to do so, remove the chains. Your tyres and the chains will last longer for the care and consideration you have shown. Watch road signs carefully and be especially considerate to other drivers. Black ice is impossible to see and is most common early in the morning and late in the afternoon, but it can linger all day where the road is in shade, in dips and gullies, or where water flows under the road. Wooden bridges are particularly prone to freezing, so be aware and alert. Drive carefully as if you have no brakes at all. Avoid unnecessary gear changes, sudden changes in direction, hurried braking, or quick acceleration. Smoothness is the key. If you need to stop, let the engine do the braking to minimise potential skidding or loss of control. If you park overnight in the snow, park only where indicated and as far off the road as possible. Reverse up a short distance if possible to ensure you have a smooth, compacted surface to leave from. Leave the vehicle in gear, but don't engage the handbrake as it can freeze in the on position. Lift the wiper blades from the windscreen to avoid them freezing to the glass. While it is a good idea to chock the wheels with a rock when you're in the bush, in a resort it may damage snow clearing machinery. If the temperature really drops, cover the engine and radiator to minimise freezing, and periodically clear the snow from your vehicle. Even the most experienced of us can get caught out by water crossings. Not only is there the depth of water to contend with, but the type and quality of the bottom, hidden obstacles, current, and finally, the width of the obstacle. Generally, if your vehicle is in good condition, you should be able to handle water crossings of an easy nature up to axle height in depth and 20 metres wide with minimal preparation. The trouble is, unless you know the crossing, you don't know what is hidden under the surface or what the depth is. In that situation, always check, picking your route for the easiest crossing. Sometimes you may need to mark it with sticks or volunteers from your party. Don't forget to pick and check your exit point. It's a good idea to spray the ignition system with WD-40 or something similar, no matter what the water crossing is like. That way, you'll ensure your vehicle keeps rolling during and after the crossing. In deeper water, or on wider crossings, you will need to do a little more preparation. Fit a blind to the front of the vehicle. This is to help in the formation of a bow wave in front of the vehicle, allowing the engine to run in a greater airspace. If your fan isn't fitted with an automatic clutch, disconnect the fan by loosening the fan belt. Select low ratio second gear. Enter the water with a reasonable amount of speed. Too slow and you won't be able to build up a bow wave. Too fast and you'll drown your vehicle. Don't change gear unless absolutely necessary. You'll be surprised, but a lot of vehicles tend to float, and that's not good as you'll quickly come to a stop. Once you are through, your brakes may be ineffective. They can be dried by driving a short distance with the brake on. Remember, with most obstacles, you get a second chance. With a water crossing, you have no such luxury. If you become stuck, it generally means a recovery job and wet gear, along with soaked upholstery. A snorkel is a good investment for many reasons, but for water crossing, they are ideal. Gearboxes and diffs are prone to getting water into them, especially if they're hot before entering the water or you end up stuck. It's a good idea to check all oils afterwards to make sure no water has contaminated them. Two of the greatest escapes available to a four-wheel driver are the many beaches around Australia and the vast desert country of our interior. There's no better sense of space, of freedom than cruising the white, sandy, wave-washed beaches of Fraser Island or cresting one of the dunes along the Canning or across the Simpson Desert. They are the raw ingredients of dreams. Sand, though, can be a real challenge to drive on, and no matter where it is, subjects the vehicle to a heavy workload. The object is to make the driving as easy as possible while keeping the strain on the vehicle to a minimum. Of course, sand can vary from a hard-packed 100km/h stuff to a lumpy, bumpy, jolting ride to a slurry that nearly everything sinks in. Tyres play an important part here, with good sand tyres having a relatively large rolling diameter, a wide, smooth, rounded profile, and a shallow, close tread pattern. Generally, highway-type tyres make better sand tyres than aggressive muddies, so what comes as standard tyres on new vehicles are half reasonable in the sand. Tyre pressures are the single most important aspect of sand driving. Always lower the pressure to around 140 kPa or 20 psi as a starting point. Of course, that will depend on how heavy your vehicle is and the likelihood of sidewall damage. On the soft beaches of Robe, you may find you'll need to go to 70 to 100 kPa, 10 to 12 psi, for easy running, while on the twig and rock-strewn sands of the Canning, with a fully loaded Land Cruiser, 170 kPa or 25 psi may be a better compromise. Allow plenty of room between vehicles. Speed and flotation are the keys to success. High ratio four-wheel drive is generally the way to go, unless you're in the thick stuff. Stick to any existing wheel tracks. The vehicle in front will have packed the sand down a little, making it easier for you. You'll be caring for the environment at the same time, and that's very important. Don't drive on any vegetation. Avoid sudden changes in direction or acceleration. Too high a speed or sudden changes of direction can tear the tyre from the rim. Coast to a stop and use the brakes sparingly. If you need to do a U-turn, the best way is to gradually work your way up to the high side of the beach and then turn down the slope. That way your speed will be maintained. Tackle dunes head on and exercise caution on steep slopes. Do not brake and keep the nose of the vehicle pointing downhill. Don't go fast, but don't go so slow that the wheels stop or the vehicle begins to slew sideways. A little acceleration will keep the wheels rolling and the vehicle pointing in the right direction. You'll be surprised at how steep a dune you can descend safely once you have the experience and the nerve. Be careful in large bare areas of sand when the sun is overhead. A condition similar to a snow whiteout can occur, and the lack of shadows mean you can't pick out any hollows or bumps. On difficult sand ridges, it's a matter of try and try again, packing down the sand on the same route up the hill. Try different gears and ratios. As you become more experienced, you'll begin to know what your vehicle prefers to a particular circumstance. Once you're off the beach or on a hard surface, re-inflate your tyres. And if you've been on the beach, it's wise to wash your vehicle down as soon as possible. You'll find mud, glorious mud, everywhere in Australia, and the variety and the form it takes is as variable as the places you'll find it. The mud holes of the mountains are vastly different to the clay pans of Central Australia. Don't rush in where angels fear to tread. Check the route out first if you're at all doubtful. Pick your line and keep to it. Stay out of the ruts if possible. They can be hard to get out of. Speed and power are essential. Tyre pressures also play an important part. The main thing is to keep moving. Low second or third are probably the best gears, but it really depends on how deep and sticky the mud is. Keep up a steady pace. If you begin to lose traction, move the steering wheel vigorously from side to side to help the tyres maintain their grip. If you do stop, don't give up. Try to reverse out, and if that fails, rock the vehicle backwards and forwards. With a little care, you may just drive out. Be extremely careful on slippery slopes. They can be dangerous. If you're going downhill, it's probably best to drop your wheels into the ruts. At least you won't run off the track. When all else fails and you end up stuck, you need to be able to get out of the situation you got yourself into. The basic recovery gear you should always carry includes a shovel, axe, a jack, preferably a high lift type jack, a jacking plate, snatch strap and a couple of D-shackles.
Yeah, to get a snatch strap, I think.
Probably the most useful item you can carry is a snatch strap. A 5cm wide by 9m long strap is the one generally available from four-wheel drive accessory shops. They're normally rated at around the 8-tonne mark. Line the towing vehicle up as straight as possible with the bogged vehicle. Uncoil the strap completely, making sure there are no kinks in it, and connect the ends securely to each vehicle. Use the D-shackles only if you have to. Make sure they're properly rated and stamped. Do them up properly by doing them up finger tight and then backing them off slightly. Avoid any sharp objects that may damage the strap. Keep about 2 to 3 metres of strap looped slackly between the vehicles. When all spectators are out of the way, on a given signal,
On the count of 3. 1.
the towing vehicle gently accelerates to take up the slack to snatch the bogged vehicle out. The bogged vehicle tries to assist by driving out. If the first attempt is not successful, try again with a little more acceleration and a little more slack. If both vehicles are facing uphill, you may need to lengthen the snatch strap. Don't join straps with a D-shackle. It's liable to become a dangerous missile. Loop the straps together and place a piece of wood or rolled up newspaper in the knot so you can undo it afterwards. Most obstacles can be overcome in this manner, but if all else fails, you'll need to winch. When the going is tough, and especially when there is only one vehicle, a winch is the ultimate recovery tool. Hand and power winches are available, with the most common one being the electric power winch. Winching is potentially dangerous, and you need to take care and follow the basic safety rules. Always use gloves to control the cable. Use a tree trunk protector when using a tree as a winch point. Use a snatch block to halve the workload on the winch. Do a final check on all connections and D-shackles before starting to winch. Make sure there are at least 4 wraps of wire rope on the drum before load is applied to the winch. Take up the slack carefully. Avoid shock loading the winch and cable. Use an old blanket or something similar draped over the cable to act as a damper if the wire rope breaks. Once the vehicle begins to move, don't accelerate it hard. You could damage the cable or lose traction again, shock loading the winch and cable, breaking something. Take it easy. Keep hands well away from the winch drum. Keep spectators well away and ensure that those involved with the recovery know who is in control and what each command or signal means. While the use of the axe and the shovel is patently and often painfully obvious, other recovery gear you could find handy in some situations include the high lift jack, Turfer hand winch, winch extension straps, ground anchors, a length of high tensile chain, and last, but by no means least, an exhaust operated air jack or bull bag. We'd recommend that for further training in recovery and advanced driving techniques, you join a four-wheel drive club or attend one of their training courses. The skills and techniques we've talked about in the last 40 minutes or so are the very basis of safe, enjoyable and responsible four-wheel driving. They are the key that will open up a whole new world of enjoyment, beauty and excitement. Take the time and learn your new skills thoroughly, and don't try to run before you can walk. There's no better country in the whole world than Australia to travel in, and with your newfound skills, this whole wonderful country is yours to enjoy.